morning, everybody, and welcome to the historic grounds of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'm John Hindorf in the Global Broadcast Centre for IMSA. Alongside me, Peter Mackay, a Porsche expert, well-known bon vivant, and all-round good bloke. And we have today the second of two Porsche Carrera Cup North America races presented by Yokohama. And here, I shouldn't have to tell you where we are. You have heard me say Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're at Speedway, Indiana. We're on the road circuit, so down the front straight the wrong way from the Indianapolis 500. 14 corners, just under 2.5 miles, 2.45 or thereabouts. And that's just under 4 kilometres for those of you who work in that particular way. Turn 1, turn 7 in particular, action area, and then you've got to be flat out through turn 14 to give yourself the opportunity to be alongside and ideally down the inside, the right-hand side at turn number 1. As I said, second of two races this weekend. Let's remind you of what happened in an accident, incident and entertainment fest that was yesterday. Very clean start in the bright afternoon sunshine with Aaron Johnson leading away from pole position down towards the first corner, but the red and white number 9 car with a little bit of hip and shoulder going through into the lead, and that being Zachary Vanier. But all the action was behind Jim. JP Martinez went off, and there was a couple of other cars involved there, including Michael McCann. Maddie was involved as well, Madeline Stewart. Then we got the little tap around between the number 47 of Matthias Leist. He wasn't very happy, but nowhere near as unhappy as Yves Boltas, who got a little bump from Jimmy Lieber as well. And Yves suggesting that Jimmy needed to sort his head out a wee bit. At the front of the field, it bothered the number 9 driver not at all, and Zachary Vanier took the victory in the Pro-Am class. It was Patrick Mulcahy and Scott Blind coming home to win the Masters. What that did was close everything up. Peter Mackay, that as they roll, and we'll do the grid for you at the moment, that has set the scene really nicely as we head into the last few race weekends of the season. Every single championship had a major change in it, or at least closed up the championship standings. But in the Pro, both the Pro Lead and the Pro Rookie League changed hands.
Global Pro class, Ryan Yardley moves into the lead of the championship for the very first time. He leads from former leader Riley Dickinson by just 4 points. So it was a good day for Ryan Yardley yesterday and for his top racing team, because they strengthened their position at the front of the team's championship by 14 points. Aaron Johnson, on the other hand, he went back into the lead of the Rookies Championship as well. So it's, as you say, it's all changed, and it could change yet again here in this second race of the weekend here in Indianapolis.
So let's have a quick look at the rundown. 13 rows of 2, and it is JP Martinez. Now, is the ACI Motorsports number 4 car at the end of the grid? We'll check it visually as it comes through, but that's where he should be. Michael McCann, one of the other injured parties from yesterday in the red number 8, should be in 25th. Michael Oremia for the Masters class Nola Sport 23 in 24th position. Brady Berman in 23rd position. Richard Edge and Marco Cironi on the 11th row of the grid. Chris Palomo on the outside, and yesterday's Pro-Am winner Patrick Mulcahy on the 19th position. Then Scott Blind, James Safronis, Jean Jadouin, Wes Slimp, Maddie Stewart, Alan Metney, and then the top 6 rows, Sabra Cook, alongside Paul Bocuse, who came through nicely yesterday, Michael De Quesada, Jared Thomas on row 5, Yves Boltas and Matthias Leist on row 4, Zach Vanier, yesterday's winner, watch him, quick starter, and Jimmy Lieber on row 3. Row 2, Riley Dickinson and Tyler Maxson. Ryan Yardley, new championship leader on the inside of row 2, and it's back-to-back pole positions for Aaron Johnson. That's how they'll start the 40-minute race. waiting for the green flag to go in the air. A couple of drivers who've had to have new cars since yesterday. Martinez and McCann in new equipment, right towards the pit wall from Aaron Johnson in the air. Great to see the guest flag marshal there waving us off at the beginning of the race. And down into the first corner, already some problems and a spin.
Libra off.
Jimmy Libra right in the midst of it there. Sean Holstein, one of the guests of Solaris Aviation, waving our green flag, and we barely got that done before we had the first incident. Now, got the leader down to the infield. A little bit of help, I think, there for Jimmy.
I would agree with that. It looks like he got contact with Tyler Maxson at the blue and yellow top racing machine. Yeah, definitely. Jimmy got a big help there from Tyler Maxson. Interestingly, in that braking zone, which at full speed they're braking from 160 to 50 miles an hour, and Libra got pretty hard into the back of Riley Dickinson going in there, and then just a few, well, maybe 100 metres later, helped off the road by Tyler Maxson. So again, drama on that opening sector, John, on lap 1.
Has not affected the front of the field, coming through strongly. Tyler Maxson just lost a position, actually. He and Riley Dickinson has dropped back just a wee bit. And as they come across the yard of bricks and down towards the first corner for the first time of action, Aaron Johnson holds on to his lead from Zach Vanier. Then Ryan Yardley, Yves Boltas, Jared Thomas coming through. Riley Dickinson and Tyler Maxson down in 6th and 7th. Neither of them will be happy about that. Paul Bacchus behind Michael Di Casada, 8th and 9th. Sabre Cook holding on to 10th. Matthias Least in 11th. And the top 12 made up by Madeline Stewart in the 82 car. Those top 12 all pro. Then the Pro-Am leader, Alan Mekney, who went into the pits early doors yesterday, came out in the Kelly Moss iFly supported car, but didn't complete the race. He's holding on to the lead in Pro-Am at the moment from James Sofronas and JMG Racing, the blue car. In Masters, Scott Blind looking to do the double this weekend in the 45 car, 17th overall, but at the moment it's Jared Thomas right up the tailpipes of Riley Dickinson, the red and white Chevron car, right in behind that classic Kelly Moss white and green machine as they come through the short chute, back from turn 2 on the speedway towards turn 1, and then turn hard right to turn 13 into hard right to turn 12 into turn 13, and now onto the front straight. Who gets the better run here? I think it's Dickinson. Pulls out a couple of cars lengths there, Peter.
That he did, yeah. That's the battle over 5th position there for Riley Dickinson, whereas championship leader Ryan Yardley up in 3rd. We should say, now that the race is underway, Scott Blind is confirmed as, well, provisionally at least, as the Masters champion in the Solaris Aviation Masters Championship. He's won it with 4 races to spare, and we understand he may be one of the only drivers in history to win 4 single mate championships. Oh no, number 39 gets turned around there. That is Jean-Jo Douane.
Yeah, Mekney was the one doing the pushing as they were battling up the field. It was the battle for 13th and 14th position. Douane, I think, had just gone past Alan Mekney and got ahead of him, and Mekney hard on the bumper there, did not lift off. That will be getting looked at. We're all also looking at an incident regarding Jimmy Libra, that ACI Motorsports car. That's been looked at. Jimmy getting turned around. He the injured party, it would seem. Now,
I think it might have been James Sofronas, you know.
I think you might be right. Sorry, I saw the silver car. I saw the silver car.
Terrifying for Jean-Jo Douane, pointing back at the cars coming towards him. That was just the most horrible feeling in the world.
It's happened to me once in my motor racing career, and it was at my very, very first race. Turned around, and the whole field, well, all bar, I think there was 35 cars in the field. I think I qualified 19th. So half the field went by me whilst I was sitting there wondering why I hadn't bothered to ask where reverse was on the racing car, and there's absolutely nothing you can do.
Michael de Quesada really on the move. He's made two great moves. He got past Tyler Maxson and then now put another move on Jared Thomas to move up into 6th place. So this is the form that we saw from the Floridian early in the season. Now they're a difficult mid part of the season, but we know he's got speed and he's showing it here today at Indianapolis.
So Aaron Johnson leads his second pole position of the weekend, but all the action's behind him. Tyler Maxson in the 77 blue and yellow car with Jared Thomas right there, and also with them the 71 is Paul Bacuse. He was a bit of a star yesterday in the purple and black machine. He goes down the inside of Jared Thomas. Jared listed as a rookie in this championship, but of course there's plenty of other single make IMSA championship experience behind him. He's learning the Porsche, and you've got to wonder where Jared might pop up in years to come. He's building a very good CV in motor racing. Johnson across the start-finish line.
For Johnson, this is a huge opportunity in his rookie season to score an overall victory.
Yeah.
That would be huge, and for his team Kelly Moss, that would gain some very, very valuable points indeed over their rivals Top Racing, who lead the teams championship at the moment. Like I say, we've seen Johnson in other IMSA championships in the past, but first season in Carrera Cup before, so he's doing a top job this weekend here in Indianapolis.
I think the thing about Porsche Carrera Cup North America, 5 years now since Carrera Cup North America was instigated. We'd had Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge in the past, but since, of course, it has become a full Porsche Carrera Cup series, and indeed was the very first, even ahead of Super Cup, to get these cars, the 992 Cup cars. There's a new evolution of the car coming out for next year, but since that we've been able to directly compare, Peter, the drivers in Porsche Carrera Cup North America with the Porsche Carrera Cups and Super Cup around the world. And indeed, of course, representatives from this championship have gone to the Porsche Young Driver Shootout, and all the drivers under the age cap will be considered for that again this year. We haven't had a winner from North America and the North American Championships yet, but it can only, I think, be a matter of time, as the standard has been incredibly high over the last few years.
That it has, yes, as JP Martinez makes a move in his very unfamiliar painted machine. It's very different to what we would normally see him in, but spare chassis, as we mentioned. Good move from him trying to make moves up the field. But yeah, I think also you look at it, what has happened. You look at Seb Prio, who won that in that first year. He's now a fully fledged factory driver, albeit for a different manufacturer, but he's had a lot of success with the Porsche brand in GT3 racing. Kai van Berlo, you see him in GT3s a lot all around the world. Likewise, Loic Hartog, who won last year, who's moving on to really special things right now. So if you win this championship, there is a real trend of success for drivers who get a title here.
Into the pit lane for the dreaded front splitter rubber to be pulled off for Chris Palomo, who has the class lap record around here, sat last year 1:26.978 for the Masters. Also, by the way, we will get incident responsibility, and my first thought that it was Alan Metney was correct, Peter.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
And Alan Metney will have to come in out of the lead of his class and do a drive-through, and that is going to put a little scuff in his weekend plans. Also in the pit lane at the moment, Matthias Leist in the Nola Sport car, and he's just come in and stopped. The team, Nola Sport team, are there, and I think it's a puncture. I think they're going to have to do a tyre. This is costing a huge amount of time as they put the car up on the jacks. Right front, it looks to me. Well, no look at all from Matthias. Highly experienced driver, making his way in the pro category here for Nola Sport. Got a little ding yesterday and then onto the grass. And whilst I'm talking about what was going on, no action for the Jimmy Libra incident at turn 1 or turn 2, lap 1. And also the problem that we had that saw the incident slightly later than that with the 68 of Chris Belomo, who's since been in the pit lane. That has been no action NFA'd as well, no further action on that one as well. At the front of the field, still a very good run, 1.5 seconds, Aaron Johnson from Ryan Yardley, taking advantage of the fact that I am sure that Aaron Johnson knows underneath that racing helmet in the Kelly Moss number 24 that Ryan Yardley wants to score as many points as possible here, and that black, purple and silver car, fabulous. Well, it's sort of a dark red. Aaron let us know what the wrap colour was earlier on in the season, and it's absolutely brilliant. It looks black in some lights, but then you see it's almost like a cherry Coca-Cola. There is a Porsche colour that's called Copper Ruby that is not a million miles from that. I had a Macan GTS in it for Le Mans last year, and it's a lovely colour. But he's driving away from the championship leader. Championship leader does not need to win this race, but he will want to outscore Riley Dickinson, who's now back up into 4th.
Yeah, for Ryan Yardley, this is the way that he's got into that championship lead. He's not had as many wins as Riley Dickinson, but he's only been off the podium once all season. That is how he is where he is, and right now he's outscoring Riley Dickinson, and that's what he needs to do. Aaron Johnson is not in the overall championship conversation as Jared Thomas moves back through on Paul Bocuse for 8th position. But yes, in the Rookies Championship, Johnson has moved back into the lead of that championship after his win in that category yesterday, and of course leading the race overall, he would win the Rookies as well. So that would move him a little bit further again over Maxon, who I would say was lucky to get away without a penalty there after that first lap incident with Jimmy Libra. As Bocuse goes back through again.
This is a great scrap. This is a great scrap. And you've got to say that lots of respect being shown there. How good do those red and white colours look on a current 911? Colours that we saw on a variety of Porsche racing machinery. I'll never forget the 1998 Evo in those colours. Now, down the pit lane for Alan Metney. Why, I hear you asking? Well, it was a perfect spin manoeuvre, I'm afraid, that he executed on Jean Jourdain that took him around. So not a stop and hold, but a drive through for Alan. But that has taken him out of the lead of that Pro-Am category. That hands the Pro-Am, that hands the lead to James Sofronas, of course.
Yeah, that is agonising in the Solaris Aviation Pro-Am class, because Alan Metney was in position there to score a big chunk of points over championship leader JP Martinez and get himself close enough to challenge for the title. Now he's down 6th in class and Martinez is 4th in class. So the gap's actually, as it stands right now, is going to go back up again. So for Alan Metney, he's going to be so frustrated.
Well, and the other bit of bad news is that JP's worked his way up from the back of the grid to 18th overall. Most importantly, he's passed a couple of Pro-Am drivers, and therefore he's now in 4th. So he's picking up 4th place numbers on points. And as you say, Alan all the way back in 6th. And without us seeing the Race Brew safety car, he's going to have to really work his way back through. Something is going to have to change. Meanwhile, James Sofronas in the GMG Motorsport Group Mobile One supporter machine in that fabulous striped side livery, dark blue at the front. That's my kind of Porsche colour, as you well know, Peter. And then the red and the white streaming down the side, looking fabulous in the late morning sunshine. Track temperature up at 37 Celsius now, 81 Fahrenheit, rising through the day. And it's 27 Celsius in the air, 99 Fahrenheit in the air here around this 2.5 mile or thereabout infield circuit. A circuit that I don't think gets the credit it deserves for the variety of corners and the raceability of this, if that's a word, raceability of this circuit and the types of competition that we see here. There's not much elevation change, obviously, but there is a great variety of corners, and it is actually quite a technical and nuanced circuit as well. Scott Blinn, by the way, reprising yesterday and leading in the Masters in that very noticeable 45 highlighted yellow and purple car.
He's been utterly dominant in the Masters category all year. So impressive, and he's put the commitment in to go to all the rounds too. That's the way you put together an overall championship. And when taking on these really difficult Formula One circuits, the street circuits like Miami, Montreal, these are really tough circuits to master, and that's exactly what he's done. And like I said earlier, this will be his 4th Porsche One Make Championship just this year, which is a remarkable stat. So Scott's been driving really well all year, and like we say, provisionally he is, by starting this race, he is champion. Nobody can catch him on points. It's provisional until the end of the year, but he's done his job, should we say.
It is not unheard of for people to be docked points in championships. I don't think it's ever happened in this particular competition, but as I say, we have to continue to say provisional because the car hasn't been scrutinised at the end of the race here. It hasn't had its tech inspection, but also, of course, he's only crowned at the end of the last race. Not suggesting that anything is awry there, but if you're wondering why, when mathematically, as the points stand now, we can't be caught and we still say provisional, that is why. Have to make sure that everybody is understanding of those situations. Michael De Quesada and Tyler Maxson scrapping it out for a class position and an overall position as well. De Quesada for the Allegra Motorsports red and black car with the stars and stripes from the back of the hood across the roof of that car. They are scrapping for 6th and 7th. Tyler Maxson 2nd in the rookie standings in this race. Paul Bocuse at 3rd, 3.5 seconds behind this battle, and is closing in on them. And these two fighting, it'll be manna from heaven for Paul Bocuse, and indeed for Jared Thomas, who's right with Paul. Those two aren't fighting so much at the moment. I suspect they know that they are closing down on potential extra rookie points, never mind the fact that there would be the honour of being further up the overall as well. So 2 pairs of cars on the front straight, and battling, the 3 of those battling for 2nd place in the Rookies Championship.
I have to say, I'm so impressed with Aaron Johnson at the front of the field right now, leading by 2.2 seconds. Fastest lap of the race at 126.784. That's quicker than we went yesterday. It was only 127 flat yesterday. Slightly cooler conditions this morning, and quicker than actually Luke Hartog went in the races last year. He was 126.8. His old problem now for the number 54 machine, that is Patrick Mulcahy.
Now, he did a great job yesterday. Has he just been off in the number 54 Juice Head car and rejoined? He was in 2nd place in the category, and he's had a little spin. He has had a little spin just coming out of turn 4 there, Peter, I think.
I would say so, yeah, in the first sector anyway, and he's trying to fight back straight away on the number 7 of Wesley Slim, but he's done that. Through he goes. Does Patrick Mulcahy. He'll be furious with himself right now after that tiny little error, but a lot of time lost.
Yeah, hasn't lost a position in Pro-Am, but he was only half a second away from a win there. He caught James Sofronas, GMG Racing teammates, by the way, those two, but he's lost an awful lot of real estate. He'll have to fight his way back through, back end of the car starting to move around. He may have put too much energy in recovering through the rear Yokohama tyres. Maybe if he can cool them off for a lap, they will come back. Very resilient, these tyres. Halfway through the race, Peter, Aaron Johnson looking to do better from his race brew pole position start today than he did yesterday. Couldn't hold on to it yesterday, but holds on to a 2.5 second lead to Ryan Yardley in second, Zach Vanier in third, Riley Dickinson in fourth. Now, was there a little bit of action further back? Tyler Maxson coming through onto the back of Michael de Quesada a moment or two ago, gets up the inside, coming through onto the high banks. My goodness me, high risk manoeuvre, but both drivers coming out of that okay. Neither of them wanting to lift a scintilla from the right hand pedal there, Peter, and indeed de Quesada taking a bit of dirt there as he opened his hands out, seeing that he had competition down the inside.
It seemed that de Quesada's struggling a lot with understeer, I would say. There's been a few times where he's been trying to tuck the front end in at the apex and it's just washed away from him. That could be a tyre issue, it could be that the tyres are overheating, maybe it could be some other issue, but he's definitely fighting some understeer as Bacchus and Thomas still going at it for 8th position, and Bacchus pretty firmly defends his position from Jared Thomas, who gets temporarily pushed out onto the grass there.
I think Jared Thomas is getting a little bit frustrated. He's seen rather too much of that car ahead of him, but it's all fair. This is a battle for class position and overall position as well. Bacchus just gently ushering Jared Thomas off to the side of the circuit there. Now closes back up again towards the middle part of the lap as they head through turn 10 and the fast right-hander at turn 11. Back onto the wide expanse of the oval just for a moment before they break and head down onto the infield for this tricky little chicane. Turn 12, then 13, which is where they are now. The left-hander, opportunity now to get a good run onto the banks, and here comes Thomas down the inside of 14. That was a smooth manoeuvre and gets the pass made before they hit the front straight at the yard of bricks. The problem is now he's making the hole in the air for that number 71 car. Paul Bacchus has the opportunity. Does he pull out of the slipstream, out of the draft, down into turn 1? He bides his time for the moment, takes a slightly wider entry into turns 1 and 2, but this time I think Jared Thomas has got that done. Looked like he had a grip advantage there coming through 13 and took a really tight line into 14 that paid off for him, Peter.
I agree. Yeah, it seemed that Jared Thomas had way more front end grip there. For Bacchus, the front just seemed to wash away from him there. Kind of similar to what de Quesada was struggling with, I would say. So for Thomas, that is important. That's a move up in the overall and indeed the rookie classification as well. It's quite unusual to call Jared Thomas a rookie, but he's a rookie in this category.
Correct.
It's quite strange to say in that white and red machine.
And by the way, Bacchus did get a warning for failure to leave racing room when Thomas was on the track, so that may have been playing into his mind as well. The team would have told him that, but that pass has now been made. Pro-Am leader James Sofronas, GMG, that number 14 car sitting pretty in 13th position, and he's got 2 other class cars between himself now and Patrick Mulcahy. Patrick was right up his tailpipes before he had that little spin 2 or 3 laps to go into turn 1. Patrick last time around a 29.1 against James, who did a 28.5. Yeah, Patrick down in traffic at the moment and he's not pulling back. What about the Masters class? Well, we've said this many times this year, leading the Masters class is Scott Blind. My goodness, what a season he has had, not just in this championship, this Porsche championship, as Peter rightly said. Been doing as much racing as he can. And the Ruckus Racing driver with a car that has seldom been anything other than pristine this season, Peter. And that is how you win championship. Pace, but also, I mean, he's won plenty of races, but he has taken the points when they've been there for him.
He's been the complete package, yeah. totally. 7 out of 10, in fact 8 out of 11 wins actually in the Masters category. But we alluded to it yesterday, how important seat time is in these cars, because everybody starts off with the same basic equipment, and then it's up to the driver, team engineer, etc. to set it up. But you know, the performance differences from car to car are very, very, very small. So then it's down to the driver, and that seat time to get used to that particular characteristic of this car, and of course the tyre that it runs on as well, and the relationship between the tyre and the car. That seat time that Scott's been doing, I mean, to win 4 championships, that's a lot of mileage.
Yeah.
And that mileage is paying off in spades. He's fully earned this this crown.
And that's a big commitment in time and finance as well, let's be brutally honest. The Porsche 911 992 that we are watching at the moment, and everything that comes from Porsche racing goes back to their race cars, and everyone who works for Porsche knows that. The 911 still the top of the pile when it comes to the two-door Porsches. As if to underline that, it is a Saturday morning, and our resident Porsche technical expert and technician, Blur Fiend, at IMSA Radio, tuned in to today's racing as he's working in the Porsche workshop on a Saturday. Love watching the Carrera Cup cars through the Indianapolis infield. Not slowing him down either at the moment, as you can hear those 4-litre flat sixes barking their way around this 2.5 miles near enough. Normally aspirated. Still the engine, by the way, as it sits in these cars, and still, amazingly, the Porsche technical department can make that engine emissions compliant for global sales. You'll find it in the back of the current GT3 992.2 as we're up to now, but it stays in that car. 507 horsepower thereabouts, and there really is nothing that sounds quite like it.
There's nothing that looks quite like a 992 GT3 RS on the road as well, which has a...
Oh, you've got to go one further than just having the GT3.
Well, it's a similar silhouette to these 992 Cup machines as the number 84. Now, Marco Cironi going to try and make a move on Patrick Mulcahy. Now, this is for position in the Masters, side by side
in the
through
Pro,
turn 1.
yeah.
Whoa, and through it goes. But yeah, I think whenever I see a GT3 RS on the road, which is a rare sighting, but when you do see them, it's very special. You just think someone's driven a Porsche Cup car out onto the road. It just has a very similar silhouette to me.
Yeah, the RSs have the louvres on the front wings, which the GT3 cars are getting back next year. Manthey have never given them up for the cars they run around the Nürburgring, interestingly enough. The MRs that they've never gone away. The big difference between the GT3 road car and the GT3 racing car is that effectively the GT3 race car, as through goes Wes Slim on the number 14 of
Jimmy Lieber,
on the number 14 of James Sofronas, not A-class battle there. The main difference, because obviously the road cars have the rear wing on the swan neck now. The main difference is the turbo rear arches, the extra air intake on the rear arches that the race cars get. That comes off the turbo, and the Turbo S. Yeah, standard GT3 and GT3 Touring don't have those. GT3 Touring's got to be the way to go. Much more refined, not much shouting.
Oak green Neo. It's got to be oak green Neo, silver wheels, leather seats, back seats.
But
manual.
No rear wing, 6-speed manual. Thank you very much. Yeah, there's one on the Porsche GB fleet at the moment in pretty much that identical spec, with the tan leather interior with silver wheels and not the gold wheels as well, and it is absolutely glorious. It hasn't made its way for a road test to us. Spin for the number 37 that's gone around, and that was 10th place Sabra Cook in the multicoloured machine from JDX. That was a right front lock over from Sabra. She tried to save it, came off the brakes, but that's just I think that's just the laws of physics. She was not quite on the racing line, and that front right just nipping up a little bit. She's back up to speed, but I think she's diving into the pit lane there, so there may be something more sinister there. Maybe a slow puncture.
Possibly, because these cars have ABS, so it's quite ABS has its limitations, of course, but I wouldn't expect it to cause such a problem like that. I think it could have been a tyre going down which caused that, or the lockup has damaged the tyre so badly that she's had to come in with vibration.
The other thing that it could be was a downshift problem, and maybe she wasn't getting the engine braking as she was trying to downshift the car, and that's why she overbraked in the first place. If you watch Carrera Cup or Super Cup on a regular basis, you might think, what is Mackay talking about? They don't have ABS. Yes, they do here. Like any Porsche you buy, there is an extensive options list, and in terms of the race cars, it's no different. Here in Porsche Carrera Cup North America, right from the start, 5 seasons ago, Porsche Motorsport North America made the decision, in consultation with the drivers who wanted to come and drive, that these cars would feature the ABS system. Now, that wasn't to make driving them any easier, it was in recognition of the fact that, particularly in the Pro class, most, if not all, of these drivers are looking at careers in GT4 or GT3 racing. And absolutely, globally, every single championship with GT4 or GT3 has some form of ABS system in the cars, whether it's a Porsche or any of the other manufacturers that could be represented there. So as part of this championship being a learning experience for young drivers, Peter, it was decided that that would be the way to go, and it hasn't stopped any of our champions, or indeed any of the other drivers from this championship in the last 5 years, from going on and having good careers. Indeed, a number of them have said to me, it's much easier to have learned ABS and then move on to another championship rather than to have to learn ABS once you get into a GT4 or GT3 car.
Definitely, I think it was the right call for lots of reasons. Tyler Maxson just made a super move on Yves Bottas to go through into 5th position, but Bottas is saying, I want that position back. I've worked very hard for it. I've not had a nice weekend, because Bottas, of course, ended up backwards in the barrier yesterday during race 1 after contact from Jimmy Libre, of course. So, but Maxson looks like he's managed to button it up. The other point on the ABS, I would also say, is that it's perfect for the drivers who race recreationally, who race for fun. It's not their prime occupation, and for them the ABS gives more confidence too. If you're a less experienced driver, it gives much more confidence and enjoyment than not having that system.
It's not infallible, and it can't overcome the laws of physics. You know, so Isaac Newton isn't going to be scratching his head in terms of what's going on out there. You still have to have the grip and the turning point and everything working out. But so many GT cars nowadays, because they all have ABS, you actually have to use the ABS as a tool to get the car turned into the corner. And it's what you hear drivers say, get the car rotated. That means from the turning point to the centre of the corner, the apex of the corner, you use the braking to help rotate the car. And it is an undoubted skill, and it's fantastic if you get it right. But it tends to mean you're doing that with a left foot braking, and that isn't a skill that everybody has. And your left foot, particularly if you've driven 3-pedal cars for a long time, is used to hammering the clutch down to the floor and then coming back up again. It is notoriously insensitive. Unless you've only come up doing karting and 2-pedal cars, you need to educate your left foot, and you've got to get your left and your right foot working in harmony to get these cars rotated. So there is a little bit of crossover. You'll still be on the throttle sometimes when you're using the brake. But that is a skill, as I say, that Porsche Motorsport North America was very keen on instilling in the Porsche Carrera Cup North America drivers when it became Carrera Cup 5 years ago. Down to 5 minutes already, Peter. And Aaron Johnson just being caught slightly in the last couple of laps. He stemmed the tide, still just on 2 seconds. The battle now, Zach Vanier and Ryan Yardley for second and third. And it would appear that Riley Dickinson is closing in on them as well. So the leader crosses the yard of bricks now with what, let's call that 15 cars lengths, back to the black and yellow car in second. Yesterday's winner, Zach Vanier, in third. And the man who wants to move up and get some more championship points in the unfamiliar territory this 2025 season for Riley Dickinson, he's not leading the championship, and he wants to put that right.
That he does, yeah. And Ryan Yardley responded very, very well on that last lap with a 1:27.3, 2 tenths quicker than the leader, Johnson, but critically 3 tenths of a second quicker than Vanier behind. And actually, that was matched by Dickinson. So you're right, Dickinson is getting closer to Vanier, yesterday's winner. So, you know, we talked about tyre allocation and performance available. Potentially, Vanier is now getting to the end of the performance available he's got in his tyre, and the others have still got a little bit left. It's long races, 40 minutes is a long race. Yesterday, of course, though, we spent quite a bit of it behind the Race Brew safety car. And today, we've been, touch wood, we've had a nice clean run. So it's, that's going to affect the tyre performance available. But I reiterate again, I'm so impressed with the calmness under pressure that Aaron Johnson is showing here, and what a credit to the Team USA scholarship program that's developed so many drivers and given opportunities to so many drivers. And Aaron, he's definitely a product of that campaign and that program. So, and he's showing to his backers, his partners, that he's the real deal. This will be an emotional first win if he can hang on for the next 3 minutes and 22 seconds.
And Aaron, who has been the beneficiary of a couple of scholarships down the year for winning championship, which has actually, you know, helped him continue his racing career. It's really tough for young racing drivers nowadays, because unlike athletes in other sports where you get picked up, and if you've got a skill, you might go into, if it's baseball, into a farm team. If it's soccer, you get picked up at a young age and you're brought on till you're good enough to get into the under-21s and maybe the full side. But motor racing, you have to be out there racing, and that, quite bluntly, costs money. And Aaron just putting a lap on, I think that's Chris Palomo actually, who stayed well out the way. Nicely done to make sure that there was no impeding of the battle for the top 4 spots. It'll be white flag, I reckon, the next time around, Peter. And this has been a very nicely judged race, but he is going to come under some pressure. It's gone down from 2 3/4 seconds to just over 2 to about 1 second now across the line. So now we're going to find out with the white flag next time around. So just under 5 miles to go. 4 drivers, 3 spots on the podium, a potential for a new winner and a rookie at the top of the standings. We have seen that before. But Aaron Johnson, has he paced himself and timed this correctly, or has Ryan Yardley saved some performance in his Yokohama tyres? See above comment for Zach Vanier. The top 4 equidistant now, 5th position. Tyler Maxson is just a way further back, some 10 seconds or so. He can tantalisingly see that podium ahead of him, but I don't think he's going to get close enough unless there's a tangle in front of him. 27.5 last time around for the leader, 27.4 for Ryan Yardley, 27.3 for Zach Vanier, 27.5 for Riley Dickinson. Ultimately, we're saying there's absolutely nothing in it at the moment. Jared Thomas, the only other driver, along with Tyler Maxson, who's in the 27s, other than that leading group at the moment. So Johnson has to keep it together. Now the white flag goes out for the second. Oh, yes, it does. In the second race here at the TireRack.com Battle on the Bricks. It is Porsche Carrera Cup North America. The Yokohama tyres have done their job. No intervention from the Race Brew safety car, and under a lap now for the man who started from his second Race Brew pole position of the weekend. Aaron Johnson, that gap is holding steady at about a second, but the pressure's on here, Peter. He's almost got to turn his rear view mirror up to the roof and just drive his own race here with half a lap to go.
Yeah, eyes forward for Aaron Johnson. Just, 1.2 miles or so away from a first ever win in the Porsche Carrera Cup North America for this very, very impressive young man. And for Ryan Yardley, again, he keeps that string of podiums going. Just one non-podium finish all year, and if he holds this position, he will lead the championship by 10 points.
I'm actually hopping from left foot to right foot here. This is not about favourites, but we watch so much motor racing and we know that it's never over till it's over. This is effectively the last braking area for Aaron Johnson, and he's kept Ryan Yardley at arm's length, and now he heads up onto the famous front straight. The yard of bricks beckons, and it will be Aaron Johnson who'll be kissing them later on with his first ever Porsche Carrera Cup North America win in the ExxonMobil Pro category, and he takes it by just on a second, 0.981. Well, that's the nice version of the Porsche Boxster and Cayman in Porsche speak. And Ryan Yardley extends his championship lead that he took yesterday now to 10 points. Zachary Vanier will be the third person on the podium ahead of Riley Dickinson. Good points for Riley, keeping the championship leader in sight. Waiting for the class winners to come through. James Sofronas just outside the top 10, 13th position. But after the spin from yesterday's winner, Patrick Mulcahy, who's fought his way back to fourth, he was under no pressure other than from the second of our class winners, with Scott Blinn bringing the Masters Championship home in style with another top step of the podium. What's that, 9 in 12 now, is it for Scott now this season?
9 in 12, yeah, 75% hit rate, not bad.
You'll take that. I mean, if that was Major League Baseball, that's well inside the Hall of Fame, isn't it? Batting 750, well done.
And you look at how competitive this championship is. One stat that jumps out to me, and thank you to Reece White from Porsche Motorsport North America for sharing this one and for bringing it to our attention. 7 winners out of 12 races we've had. Yeah. Johnson is the 7th of those. So it's great to see first-time winners in the championship, first wins of the season for others. Just fantastic seeing these young drivers at the front of the field just taking steps towards their dreams.
Do you know, we haven't mentioned them yet today on this Super Saturday, but our corner workers and marshals, they know what they've just seen. Big thumbs up coming through the fence there for Aaron Johnson. They are so well informed and knowledgeable about all motor racing. And our unofficial results from the second race here for Porsche Carrera Cup North America at Indianapolis Motor Speedway sees Aaron Johnson continue the Kelly Moss podium and winning streak. Let's not forget, from Ryan Yardley from Top Racing in second, it's JDX Racing's Zachary Vanier in third position. Riley Dickinson makes it to Kelly Moss Racing in the top 4. Top Racing's Tyler Maxson, second in the rookies in that race. That's 2 Top Racing cars in the top 5. Further down, outside the top 10, James Sofronas in 13th position takes the Pro-Am ahead of JP Martinez, who fought through from the back of the grid. That was a great drive back from JP in an unfamiliar car. Marco Cironi in third, and Scott Blinn wins the Masters category ahead of Richard Edge in 21st position and Michael Oriema in 23rd position. No luck this weekend at all for Matthias Leist or Sabra Cook. Sabra knocked out of a strong top 10 position today, and Matthias Leist having 2 incidents, one yesterday and one today. Well, he took the lead yesterday in the ExxonMobil Pro Championship, Peter Mackay. He's backed that up spectacularly today. Aaron Johnson from Race Brew Pole 2 days in a row, but has managed to convert that to his first race win today.
Fantastic stuff for this young man, and as he climbs out of his Porsche 992 GT3, the two fists raised in the air, that is a lot of hard work and commitment that's gone into that, and to do it at one of, if not the most historic site in all of motor racing. What a special day for him and his family.
And how about having your first Porsche Carrera Cup North America victory at this spot, where you can take off your helmet and your hands device and kneel down and kiss the bricks. He is a winner here, not of the Indy 500, but that won't matter to him now. It'll feel like he's just won the Indianapolis 500. So Aaron Johnson then backing up his lead in the championship that he got yesterday will extend over Riley Dickinson in the ExxonMobil Pro Class 2, 10 points. Congratulations to James Sofronas for winning Pro-Am, and Scott Blind wraps up the Masters Championship. For Peter Mackay, I'm John Hindhaugh. Bye-bye.